We are live again here on Facebook during our little quarantine months. It was supposed to end quicker than it has, but we're here in Boston and it has extended even further. How are things with you though? Jesse Westover, how are things with you, man?
Good, man. Not bad. Cannot complain.
You are, where are you at, man? For people who know. Gotcha. So I think I want to start off by introducing you. You and I kind of met digitally, just through all the connections we have in the supplement space. I know you were DMing a little bit back and forth, and you're obviously have a very growing retail store, and we'll get into that in the supplement space. And I thought it was interesting because whenever I see someone go into retail, especially online retail with Amazon being around, I know they must have some big balls to do that because it's tough. And then also you've kind of mastered e-com, Shopify, Google ads, getting traffic to your store. You know this game in and out, and you're really good at it. Recently, you and I partnered through having As's products at your store too. So you have some really cool stuff. But I think there's a story that you have about some of the other cool stuff you do on besides the e-com, and then starting this as a side hustle. Just generally, tell us a little bit about your story, man, for everyone listening for the first time.
Yeah, so I started actually managing supplement stores, which I won't say which company because I don't want to give them any publicity. But so I started managing supplement stores, and there were certain things. So the owner of the store or corporate, I worked for franchise and corporate, and they wanted me to grow their store and grow their business, but they set such high limitations. It's you want me to grow your store, but I can't do B through Z. I can only do this one thing, but you want me to grow your store.
Right.
So it started from frustration because it's you want me to grow your store and business, but this makes no sense. So it honestly started out of frustration. So now I just over the years I just wrote down what was irritating, what I could do better, and then here we are today. So it all stemmed from frustration. That's why I started, to be honest with you, because it's they wanted me to, as I said, they wanted me to grow their business, but they set such high limitations, and it's it just didn't work. So here I am.
Gotcha. So at some point you were like, fuck this shit, I'm gonna start my own thing. What was there a moment that you had in your mind, I need to start my own thing, or was it always brewing in the back of your mind? Because people always say, because when I left my law firm, the guys were like, wait, you must have been thinking about this for a long time. I was like, yeah, I was, but also not really. There was just this moment. What was that moment for you? I know, Leo, you had a moment too. I want to hear from you, Jesse. What was that moment where you're I got to do my own shit?
It kind of stemmed from a situation I was in with the owner. He wanted me to, he wanted me to grow the store, but he set such high limitations. And I always thought it would be cool to do this. But I never honestly thought I just never put it into reality. Then I started to meet other people who own businesses, and then they kind of helped me. They're like, why can't you do it? And I was like, I mean, you're right. I don't really have a reason why I can't do it. So I remember just that one, when he told me that, I was like, yeah, this makes sense. So it's kind of when I just went for it.
Right.
Very nice. Yeah. I have a philosophy that people always act out of inspiration or desperation. And I mean, I guess you were just so, I don't know where on the spectrum you were, but maybe more inspired to all right, well, if you can do it, I can do it,
Yeah, exactly. You see other people do it, and it's well, you started the similar way I did, and you're still making it. So, I mean, it's not to say everybody's going to make it, obviously, but just to hear people's stories, and it's yeah.
I have so many questions for the both of you because I just watched your video on YouTube, and I don't know how long ago you guys posted it, but that's exactly kind of the phase where we're in now, and I have no clue about ads or I just saw Prady, you showed a graph on ROI, and nowadays it's the ROI on whatever, it's just much higher because everybody's home. But I have questions because I just am completely new to this, and we hired someone who used to work for Google, and he just knows everything. So now I'm kind of trying to catch up, and I'm just curious about so many different parts of that.
Yeah. Topic.
Yeah, I guess and Jesse, I think you might have to move to your mic a little bit closer because I think it's fading in and out. But I think that the big question, I guess, for you, Jesse, is how do you get so you have a store, you have a business, you say, I'm going to go on Shopify. What's the first step someone should take? When they were okay, I want to do PPC, I want to go create now. What ad should they make? Should they go on Google? Should they go on Facebook? What do they even do? Because you attract a lot of your leads through ads. So how do you even start, and what do you do?
The very first ad I started, luckily Shopify makes it kind of easy. Now I do everything through Google Ads, but you can do ads right through Shopify, and Shopify gives you like options, what to do, what marketing platform to use. But now you go straight through Google. So Google Shopping ads, now Google Shopping ads are free, I guess, which is weird. But my first ad I set up was the Google Shopping ad, because that's where it's like, so I'm a retailer. So say if somebody's looking for like this pre-workout, I will pop up on Google. Once they type like this pre-workout, I'll pop up. So that's a big one. That's where I get a lot of my ads from. And then of course, retargeting ads, I use another app for that, but it's still all manual. But I would definitely start off with Google ads, because that can pop up obviously like everywhere on the little sidebar when you're searching for coffee or something. So I think Google ads is probably the best place to start for most people.
Yeah. And I see like, I think we have like this concept like we have to create everything as entrepreneurs, but I'm not a big proponent of that at all. I think that if there's platforms out there that are already bringing people together, advertising on there is the better way to go. Yeah. So I'm a big proponent of Google Shopping if you do e-com, because people are there oftentimes to educate themselves. And sometimes if you go on Google Shopping, they're there most of the time or many times to buy. So you want to be on platforms where people are already like have an intent to buy. And this is, I think, a big thing that most companies don't take into consideration, where you're doing a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, like you have to bring in revenue, and you want to be in the places where people are ready to buy your product. And that's why I'm a big proponent. Like Amazon works phenomenally well for e-com. Google Shopping works great. And then you'll see some of the other platform tools, like you have Pinterest, you have regular keyword ads, and then you have Facebook ads and stuff like that, or Instagram ads. Those are good, but you won't see extremely high conversion rates for those, because people are not there with an intent to buy. They're there to catch up with their friends, look at chicks, like whatever they're doing. They're not there to like actually buy. And so if you're putting all your emphasis on those platforms, you need to think about, why is someone using that platform? So on Instagram and Facebook, the strategy has always been like engagement type things that build leads. And then when you actually do conversions on Google Shopping or Google, or you go on Amazon, because that's where people have a real intent to buy. So I'm a big proponent of that. And if I've run ads before in Google, I always make the keyword buy Azith or buy Azith nootropic. So, because when people write in buy Azith nootropic, they want to buy. If they're like, what is the best nootropic in the world? They're there to educate themselves. And if someone clicks on my ad, I just wasted $2 or $1, whatever it costs me. So being very strategic about it. And it's like with the topic of today being like how to make something out of nothing, like how to find your place. And like one thing is about being strategic, because online has opened so many doors. We have to be strategic about what each platform actually does, and making your advertisement dollars stretch as far as possible means you work with that platform. I guess that's the first case. But I want to talk to Leo about this, because you and I got on the phone the other day and you said, you kind of get, dipping your feet wet into this. Like, where do you think a lot of people get stuck, or where are you stuck? Because we were all there first. I was there for 2 years.
Yeah, Jesse, the other day I called Prady. I was so frustrated because I was trying to set up shipping, and I was like, damn, I hate walking to the UPS or USPS and doing that whole routine. I was like, there has to be a better way. So when we bought Shopify, I think almost a month ago, I was waiting for orders to come in to actually try it out. But the whole shipping part, figuring that part out and putting in, how much it weighs and making sure it tailors to someone who's ordering from Seattle opposed to just locally here in Boston.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a huge, it took me at least, I don't know, like 2 hours, 3 hours to kind of just get through. And I was like, all right, let me just figure. But at the end of the day, I figured it out that we didn't really even need that platform I was calling you about, Prady. I was like, well, this is for international. We don't really need this right now. And Shopify has something that you can just use on that platform. So I guess it's just, and then you have to be sure to interlink. Like, I don't know, Jesse, have you heard of Sellbrite? Do you know Sellbrite, this platform?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Or there are other, services like this too. But then in order to connect our Shopify to another e-com platform, we have to get that, and then you have to set up shipping there too to make sure it things. So I think I see how it could easily be something where people get lost in, and by setting that up, now I understand the people on Facebook like, would you like to learn how to make 6 figures, buy the system, buy this, and I'm like, this is what it's all about, and then that's why it's so difficult.
Yeah,
that's where I got stuck.
I had a similar experience with Google, because when I first started Shopify, I didn't know anything about like websites. Now I've learned pretty freaking quick. But with Well, there's a couple different ways you can do it through Shopify. There's like a direct like Google Shopping app you can do. Otherwise, you can do it through Google, and there's like so many different like it wants you to enter like different shipping rules, and it like you to differ from your Shopify store, which is like from a newcomer, you're like, what the hell is this? You're like,
man,
I don't know.
The shipping rules, that's what got me.
Yeah. Then luckily through Shopify, there's a direct Google Shopping app where it's you got to link your Google account, but that's the easiest thing to do. I was in the same place.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just I don't know. My thing is everything should be on YouTube, or there's always something to read about. It just takes time to learn, and I'm sure it took both of you a long time. I remember Prady, we did an episode before, and then you're like, I think you mentioned how long it took you, like a whole year to figure out a proper system.
Yeah, for sure.
You know? And and you're quick with things. I know you're quick with things.
No, it takes a while, and then they change everything too. So like you have to be up to date with it. So I mean, there's two parts to it. Like one is like the algorithm, and you got to learn the system and like technology, and then the other part is also using some logic. I think like sometimes logic gets thrown out the window when we think about tech, but it's still humans you're dealing with. I always say that. So like just the thing I just said is like, you know, making sure people have buyer intent. Like sometimes people forget about that. They're like, man, I'm running all these ads, and it's like, where are you running it? They're like, I'm running it on Pinterest. I'm like, okay, but maybe conversions are not going to be high there. People are trying to find, it's a brand platform. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, oh yeah, I forgot. It just, I know it sounds super simple, but you get so deeply engrossed in the algorithm, the mathematics, and the technology that you forget what's the platform really built for. So using just like comment, because it's at the end, it's the same as you going up to someone and selling a product when you're at the bar. Like you're talking to someone, a person, and this is just another platform to do so. So think about what's appropriate. Like if you're good at social settings, if you know when to say what, some people are really bad at that. You always have like a friend who always says things at the wrong time. Like it's like the wrong time to say shit. It's like, what are you doing, man? They don't have social timing. They miss that. They don't have that acumen. And some people know, like sometimes you can say things in a certain setting. You're not going to say something with your friends in the locker room that you would with your parents at a dinner table or like at a formal event. And advertising is the same way. They're all different platforms, and you need to know when to say what at what time. You know what I'm saying? And that's logic.
It's a great analogy. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the biggest mistakes I feel like people make at first, I even made it my first month or two, is like retargeting ads. It's like if you don't have retargeting ads, most people know what it is, but if you don't know what it is, it means like if I go to Prady's website and he doesn't have retargeting ads, I'm not going to see another advertisement on Facebook to draw me back in. So there's a lot of people, me and I know my buddies who run businesses too, like they set up retargeting ads, but only on Facebook and Instagram, which is like, that's the most people these days have social media. But if you're not doing retargeting ads on like Google, that means it'll pop up randomly. You can have it set up so it retargets on a YouTube video, retargets if you're on another website. So I feel like that's the biggest mistake people make too, is setting up a retargeting ad only for social media. So that's a big one. I feel like people.
I have a quick question for both of you. So for me, obviously I'm still new to this, and I'm asking myself whether I need to learn everything there has to be learned about this right now, or you know, will that take me away from brand building? Will that take me away from actually, you know, focusing on other parts of the business? Or how do you only focus on ads? Do you then forget about brand building? Do you have someone else do other parts of the business? Or
me personally, I know Prady's different, but me personally, I'm a one-man show, so I do literally everything right now. But I feel like that's a reason why somebody hires people on. Like, say if I get so busy where if doing ads for some reason like takes time out of something precious, like building brands or doing phone calls, I feel like that's when you start hiring people on, if you're at that stage and you can afford it, obviously. So, but me personally, I do everything myself, which kind of drives me nuts sometimes, but it's okay. I still do it. So
yeah, I will say this. I think you should know enough about it. Like when you should know what you should know all the terminology. And I think you should be able to get to a point where you can run an ad, you know how to create an ad, you know how to run it, you know how to set your audiences on all platforms, and you know what it takes to actually get conversions. Because if you don't know even the basics, I don't recommend, I'll say it on record, I don't recommend anyone getting a social media ad agency or any of that stuff. And the reason why is because you have no clue what they're doing, zero clue. And all these people are taking everyone for a huge ride by saying, oh, we're going to help you do this super difficult thing in the world. These ads, it's just so complicated and we'll do it for you. You can build your brand and you don't have to focus on it. Mm-hmm. I get it. But I also know that you have no control over anything. You have no idea how it works. and you need to know how it works. So my answer to that is not knowing how digital really works and how ads work and just the digital, it actually hurts you from proper brand building. And the reason why is because if you don't know how to sell, you don't know how to create a good brand. If that makes sense, because I don't know what my audience, because like when I started doing ads like PPC, and I don't do much of it, to be honest, as much. But when I used to do it heavily, I learned a lot about my brand. I knew what people cared about. I knew when people click. I knew what people like and what they don't like. And when they're searching and they're not converting, I'm like, oh, okay, that doesn't work. So it's a great way for you to test your brand and your messaging too. Because let's take, for example, we had a slogan, get shit done. Okay. And I was like, is this like too much out there? So then I changed it to like total productivity, or I changed it to something. And like, I'm testing out my slogan all the time. The only way I can test this is through cold traffic. So right now, for instance, you guys with Flickr are doing a stories and you're like, what logo looks good? Test it on an ad, and you can do split tests. And I think actually your brand becomes stronger if you're selling. And so I think there's this concept now of like these like cool creative dudes with like scarves and a water bottle. They're doing all these like cool sketches and designs and logos, but they have no clue how to sell shit. And my problem is like, yeah, your logo looks awesome and it's like a lifestyle brand, but like, does that move units or not? And if you're not together with sales and branding don't work together, I feel that it causes problems and it causes your business to collapse. So I always say sales is the glue that holds a business together. So the answer is no, I don't think it will take you. I think it will make you better at understanding your brand, because like you have a lot of questions. Is this logo good? Is this design good? You don't know, man. You have no idea. And if you're not out there selling it and getting feedback from people, how will that really happen? And also, if you want to outsource it to someone, what are you going to tell them to do? So like, for instance, on our team at Azith, we have, we have one team in vertical that focuses on ads, but like, they're like, Prady, what do you think we should do for our return on ad spend? Where do you want to be? What should our budget be like? What are we looking for cost of customer acquisition? If I can't answer those questions, they can't make good ads. No fucking clue. Mm-hmm. So I need to know what that even means,
And if you take right now, it's kind of a good example too. So say if I just don't want to deal with ads and I didn't learn how to do ads or social media, and then I just hire somebody for it. Say like right now we're in a pandemic. Say if your social media guy, your ad guy, you have to fire them because you can't afford to pay them. If you can't afford to pay them and you have to run everything yourself and you don't know how to do what that person did, you're fucked.
Yeah. That was my next question. I was like, exactly that. Yeah.
I think me and Prady talked about this before on another Zoom call, but it's like, if you don't know how to, it's kind of hard to delegate if you don't know what you're talking about. Like if you're mad at your ad guy because this isn't doing this and you can't do that, you can't really, it's hard to delegate if you don't know what that person's job is and how to do that job. So I don't know, it just kind of makes everybody's life easier.
Yeah. I mean, so for someone new that's coming into it, I have human metrics in a way. I'm like, all right, so last month we had 800 followers. Now we have, over 1,000. Something must be working, like something. But I mean, I don't think it's safe to only rely on that, And
Yeah.
but now I'm logging on to like Google Analytics. I'm trying to understand it, like bounce rates and how many seconds people stay on the home or shop page or something. So I'm definitely learning about it. I'm a bit it intimidates me, and I feel like I'm not alone in this. Like I'm sure there are many people who just look at it and like, all right, I'm done. I'm not gonna do this. But I have to know this, I guess.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing too is to have patience, because it's like not everything's overnight. It's like you can have all the money in the world and you can have everything you need, but at the end of the day, it's just gonna take time. Like me, I honestly have issues where I try to compare myself to stores that have been running for like 5 to 10 years. I'm like, I'm 6 months in. I'm not gonna be like a store who's been running for 6 years. So just gotta have patience at the end of the day is what it comes down to, I think.
Oh man, like I feel like if I was getting frustrated with just the shipping part the other day, I'm like, all right, I need to. This is gonna be a marathon.
Yeah. Whenever you feel like something gets overwhelming, you want to get up from the chair, put your ass back on the chair and stay, because you just you and I were talking about that, Leo, but like you just putting your ass back on the chair, you already now overcome like the hurdles that most people haven't been able to overcome. So it separates yourself. Like I had no clue that Jesse had a 6-month-old store. No idea. Obviously I talked to him about it, but like, I was like, oh, you don't have, I thought he had a huge retail for, I have no fucking clue. And the reason why is because the experience, if you go on Jesse's website, it looks like a pro made it, and he is a pro, but it doesn't look like someone who just put this together, in 6 months, because it takes a lot of effort to get there, and you're experienced and a super professional. So when I was like, hey, like let's stock some ads of products there, I had no problem doing that. It was like, this is a professional store, and it looks phenomenal. So I think, but I wanted to quickly go on the analytics part, because I think a lot of people get stuck. Jesse, what is the one thing you pay attention to, like when you're doing your analytics, or when you're seeing if something's performing? Of course, we know like sales is one thing, but like one analytic that you feel like, or metric that not a lot of people focus on that you think is super important, because there's so much clutter out there, dude. What do you think is important?
I'm a huge analytics nerd, so like there's like multiple times per day I just go in Google Analytics and Shopify. But man, I'd probably say I'd probably conversion rate or returning customer. Because the issue I had at first is when I was running Google ads, I'm like, well, it's great, like I'm getting all these new customers from this Google ad, and especially e-commerce. If you're operating e-commerce, it's different from an actual physical supplement store, because you can talk to that person. But it's e-commerce, you don't know how often that person like takes a pre-workout, so you don't know how often they're going to rebuy. So my issue was like the whole returning customer thing with ads. Now it's getting to a point where they rebuy. Obviously, you have to give them a reason to rebuy. You can't just like expect them to hit that buy button for no reason. So I'd say it's probably returning customer rate and conversion rate, I think. I feel like a lot of people focus just on like site traffic. It's like, it's great you're getting like 2,000 hits a day or whatever, but like if that's not going into anything, like congratulations.
Yeah.
So, and there's a spot in Google Analytics too. You can see like drop-offs. You have to dig pretty deep in Google Analytics to see it, but like you can see if like 500 people went from your homepage to the new traffic section, so you can kind of see where people went and where the drop-off was. So that's another thing I look at like on a daily basis too. Right. So that's kind of cool. You have to dig deep to find it, but once you dig deep to find it, it's pretty cool to see where people drop off at. Then you can kind of tweak your page, tweak your site to obviously fix that. So
Interesting.
that answers your question, Prady.
Yeah, no, it does. I think it's, I think so. A couple of things you mentioned there that I really like is focusing more than just a single sale and traffic, because I think that's a big metric. Is like kind of like you said, like you're getting a lot of followers, but like the question is like, is that converting? And for me, the biggest, when I analyze businesses, whether it's my business or whether it's a business for acquisition, I ask people two questions: how much profit are you making? Number one, and what's your cost of customer acquisition? Because if I buy a business and it costs me like $50 to acquire each customer, I'm out. I don't pay that. Depending on what you're selling, right? If you're selling like high grade furniture, okay, makes sense. But if it's just like a $2 like, I don't know, Swiss Army knife, then it's shit. So like you need to know that. And I think that's where most good businesses go to die, which is their cost of customer acquisition is way too high. And you need to get that number down, and you need to know what that number is. And you need to know that by heart. Like I know what it costs to get every customer of Azza through the door. I know what it costs on Facebook, on Amazon, and on Google. I know the number by heart. And so that helps tremendously with every decision I'm making. It also helps me make the decision whether I should continue with this product at all. Like if you're in a retail, if you're a retailer and you're stocking products like Jesse is, and he's like, this product's not moving and it's super expensive for me to acquire a customer, you gotta toss that product, or you gotta get rid of it. So it helps you make anything that helps make a decision to make progress in life. I like those analytics, and data will tell you that. And that's why Google Analytics, because like people are like, oh, this is really cool. And then like when I was a kid and that first time I saw Google Analytics, I was like, oh, this is cool. I can see everyone who's on there. But I was like, okay. Then after like a week or two, I was like, well, it's getting boring. Okay, what do I do with it now? And then I was like, well, I got to do something with it. Yeah, it's cool, but what then? And then I was like, okay, what are the most important metrics that matter? And I was like, okay, I got to figure out, I'm getting conversions, I'm getting this amount of traffic, and how much is it costing me to get each one of these people? And then I'm building my profit and cost model. So that's super important for me to have that metric down pat.
Yeah. That's a good one. I feel like Google Analytics, it's definitely, there's a lot of people, which I'm surprised that they do this, but there's a lot of business owners who focus on the site traffic and the sales. That's it.
Yeah.
Those are the type of people that get bored with Google Analytics, because Google Analytics is like that plus a million other things you can like look at. So
sounds like I got to take a course on Google Analytics or something.
I just learned by clicking through stuff. I was like, just clicked on the sidebars, and that's how I the whole, like, you can see where people dropped off at on your site. So I actually just learned it by clicking. I had to look up a YouTube video how to do the pixels, because I was like, a pixel? I was like, what are you talking about? But obviously once I did that, I mean, every ad has pixels because it's just helps analytics, helps track it. So like at first I was like, okay, I don't know how to do this. But after the whole Google Analytics thing, I just searched the sidebar and just started looking.
So just stay there, surfed, and just learned and just kind of immerse yourself with it. That
I just clicked away, pretty much.
Yeah. So I want to bring it back. So you have someone who's kind of like our age, you know, late 20s, early 30s, whatever, like a millennial, and you're like, fuck, I think we all share one thing, our 9-to-5s were shit. We didn't like it. So then we're like, okay, I think I have what it takes to become an entrepreneur. I want to get into the digital game. Every single person who starts today has to go digital. Take someone through the steps, Jesse. Like, what do they do? What's the first thing they should do?
First off, decide what site you want to go to. Like, I think Shopify is the king. There's WordPress. I don't know much about those other sites, but you have to decide who you're going to go through. And you're gonna just the basic thoughts of a site, basically. So first off, who you're gonna go through. That depends on, because obviously each site has different like tools and stuff you can use. So you gotta decide who you're going through first, obviously. So yeah, I feel like if you don't have a website, like there's even some like stores that have a physical store, they don't have a website. It's kind of like, what are you doing? So
yeah, I mean, if you're not online, then yeah, no, because for us, we switched from, like, when we first launched last year, we had Wix, and then from Wix we went to Squarespace because we heard that it's just much more, how you say, customizable or what have you. And then we switched from Squarespace just to Shopify because it's more trackable, or data is more integratable, or
yeah, it's better for e-com. I mean, like, I think first thing is, like, what are you selling? You're selling a service or a product. If you're selling a product, you want to be in a platform that supports sales of products, and Shopify is built for that. Wix, Weebly, all these platforms, WordPress are not built just for that. They have that option, but it's not built for that. Shopify is built for one thing, e-com. If you have like a site where you're selling a service, like, Shopify isn't really meant for that. You can, but it's meant for sale. So I think that's the first thing, Shopify. And I think the first thing is, there's like different types of leads you get. You have your warm leads, people that you already know, they can get traffic to your site. But I also think it's really good. People always say, get the people you know first. And I agree with that. Get them first so you have revenue coming in.
Yeah.
Tell your friends, hey, buy from my site. I got a product. Have all your friends buy. Okay. Now, the second thing, though, is I think I'm really a believer in driving cold traffic as quickly as possible. So people who haven't heard from you, because if my friends buy, it doesn't tell me shit about my business. I don't learn anything because, like, of course, my mom likes my protein. It doesn't mean shit, right? So she buys, uncle buys. Okay, cool. Make my first 1,000. But now if I need to know, and for me, I'm a big person who believes in polarizing. I need to know my answer quick. I don't like waiting around. You in or you out? And I want to know that about myself. Should I continue this business or should I drop it? One thing I hate, because I've done so many businesses, I hate working on businesses that are not going to work. I fucking hate that shit. It's a waste of my time. I'm only going to live for, right now, life expectancy is 76, 78. I don't have much time. So I got to build a successful business as quick as possible. I can't sit on shit for too long. If it's 4 years out of 76, in my prime years, that's almost like 15 years in real life. That's a long fucking time. I do not want to do that. So I quickly want to find out if this business idea is worth it or not. And that's what I tell everyone to do. Because in the beginning, you don't have much skin in the game. So test it immediately. Get cold traffic to your site and the way you get cold traffic is through advertising. And then test your hypothesis. First of all, do people care about your product? Can you drive traffic to your site? And number two, if you're selling your own brand, the question would be like, how much do people want to pay for this product? And number three, is the amount that people want to pay for this product, is that going to make me successful? Because, we want to provide value to customers, but, sometimes people ask me a question, Prady, do you like this? I'm like, yeah, I love it. And then they come up with the product, be like, do you want to buy it? I was like, no. They said, Prady, I thought you liked it. I was like, yeah, I like it, but I don't want to pay money for it. Mm-hmm. So, and then they're like, how much would you pay for it? I was like, maybe $4. He was like, oh shit, but my price is 20. I was like, can you survive on $4 per customer? I said, no. I was like, drop your business, shit. Stop your business. So you need to drive cold traffic as quickly as possible. And then when you drive cold traffic, you can test out, is my product valuable? How much does it cost to get each customer? And does the money the customer wants to pay for my product, can I build a business where I can work full time, support my family and all that shit? And a lot of times the answer will be no, and that's totally fine when you start something else. But for me, I like ads because they allow me to do that quickly. Because a lot of us hide behind warm customers all the time. We hide behind our friends, family, roommates, I don't know, all the shit I was doing in college. And I knew all that whole game, my fraternity. Okay. And then what? Right. And so can I drive cold traffic? If that there's not enough people that in your personal life that could help you build $1 million store. It's just not possible unless you're Gary Vee. So, so.
fact of like, if you get warm leads, like friends, it's like, I don't care who you are, your friends and family are going to bullshit you. Like most of your friends and family they're going to bullshit you. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And if you can get warm leads, like if you can get cold, like random people from Google Shopping, that tells you something. If you're not getting cold, if you're not getting people from like ads converting, you should probably rethink something that you're doing. So.
Yeah, that's really crucial. I always ask that when I'm assessing businesses, even my own business. I always think about how many people do these people do I know? And like, for instance, we recently went on Amazon for one of our new products. We wanted to launch there. And it's tough because it's like, I wanted to there's a category in there, sports nutrition endurance. It's a fucking brutal category to get on. Like it takes you years to get on there. And so I was like, I want to be in the top 100. I don't care how to. And so in order to do that, there's not enough people I know in my personal life. And I know a shitload of people. I've lived in many countries. I know probably over 1,000, 2,000 people. But there's not enough people I can tell to go buy the product to get me ranked on that. So it has to be organic within Amazon. So all cold traffic, and has to be cold traffic coming from ads. So I know there's product to market fit. I know people like this product because just like Jesse said, there's people that I don't know. I've never heard of these people. They're buying this product. And that has propelled us. Like right now we're in the top 10 in the country on Amazon for the product. And the only way I know this product is valuable. If I have to spend so much on ads and like literally no one wants it, dude, drop the product. And there's no problem with that. I mean, Jesse, you carry a lot of products. Some products will move and some products don't, but Nutrition Junction, you're just fine, man. If one product doesn't, I don't know, you have a product there, if it doesn't work, who cares? You can have Flickr. I can have a product and asset and it doesn't work. It's okay, guys. Like I'll start a new one and I'll think about what I could do better next time. And so I think there needs to be ads. Why I like ads is not just about profit, but it's also about, I like it to test, to see whether there's actually a market for my product. And I'm a big proponent. You can't create a market. It's either there or it's not. So that's why I'm a big proponent of driving cold traffic as quickly as you can and not wasting time. Because otherwise you have no clue,
Yeah. And the biggest thing to know if you're wasting your time or not, it's like impressions on ads are great. It's like people are seeing it, but if they're not clicking the link or if they're not buying or if they're not doing something with your ad, something's not working. So
right.
No. I'm literally a sponge now. That's so many little nuggets that does this apply to me? Does this not apply to me? Is this a sign?
Yeah. And another smaller kind of tidbit about like cold traffic and warm traffic. I feel like if your friends, like word of mouth is huge. Like for me personally, word of mouth is the biggest, like that's helped me more than even Google Shopping has. So like your friends and family are the odds of them like shouting you out or doing something for you and actually getting traction from it is low. I found if you convince a person that you advertise to, like that found you through Facebook or whatever, they're a lot more likely to like hype you up and like tell their friends, because it's like your friends and family, it's like they're there for you, that's great, but it's like word of mouth helps a lot more when it's like when you convince somebody you don't know to buy your product, and then you got to give them a reason to tell their friends. So you got to have a good enough product, or you got to give them a good enough experience to tell people, but that's another.
Yeah, or a good incentive and all true stuff.
Yeah, I think the topic being today, like how to build something out of nothing. And the reason why we talk about it, because it's very competitive now, man. You do e-com. There's a lot of e-com stores. I mean, Jesse, you're like throwing the sharks. Just how many like supplement retailers are there that are doing it online? And there's Amazon, obviously, and there's a lot of competition. But like always thinking about, the question always is how can you stand out? I'm always thinking about that. What are you doing different that you can stand out so you can capture market share? And so I think one of the big things, and we're talking specifically to entrepreneurs, but anything you want to do in life, thinking about how you can separate yourself. When it comes to business, what's the customer experience after they purchase? And I'm a big proponent of that because we all know this, man. You go in a store, everyone's super friendly. I go into like a nice store. Hey, can I offer you want to sit down? You want to see this? Okay. Then I get my credit card and I buy it. Like, okay, buy it. And then, but no one escorts me out of the store ever. I go to Louis Vuitton and Armani. I like that shit. I go in there. They're super nice to me. But when I leave, no one's escorting me out. Like I got to go myself out. What the fuck? But when I come in, everyone greets me. That's a problem because you want my money, but when I'm done, you don't want shit to do with me. Yeah. So the post-purchase experience is very important. And I'm a very big proponent of that. And that's how you build customer loyalty. Imagine if you go to a store and you spend a lot of money and then after you've paid, they follow up with you. Hey man, what did you think if Armani follows up with you or all these, I don't know, Nordstrom, whatever, wherever you shop. Like, hey, what do you think about that? Can I do something for you? Do you want more like just the post-purchase experience is as important as the pre-purchase experience. And we're taught as marketers, focus on pre-purchase. What's the funnel? What's the funnel? How can you give them more? And then when they're done, credit card out. And I think what Jesse does well, and I think what a lot of stores that tend to do well, what a lot of brands can do better, the post-purchase experience is as important. So I do the same thing with ads. It's like we follow up with them, we call them, we send them shit all the time. I recently bought 150 books for people. We paid over $2,500 for it. And we just gave it away for free. And like, what the fuck is this? I only bought once 2 years ago. I was like, don't worry about it, take it. And the reason why we do that is because the post-purchase experience should be as awesome as the pre-purchase experience. So thinking about that, about standing out, could really help. And then also you can build a community, just like you've talked about too, Leo. So all that stuff. And the reason why it helps is because it brings down your cost of customer acquisition. Here's why. So if it costs you $10 to get a customer to buy a lighter, and say your lighter costs $5, you're like, shit, man, I've lost $5. It wasn't profitable. What if that customer has such an awesome experience, they tell 3 other people? Now, those 3 other people, you didn't pay for them. They came for free. You didn't pay for them. So now they're paying, 15. Now that customer that you got for $10 has spent $20, and now you're profitable. So I know we've had that conversation offline as well, Jesse, about like what more stuff is always good. And I'm a big proponent of that. Customer loyalty programs. And that means more than just like pushing them for sales. What are you doing after? And it can be totally unrelated to the project, to the product too. And I found that to work really well.
Yeah. And about the whole post, that's actually one of the main reasons why I started this and left the bigger supplement retailers, because their post-purchase, it's like they were being sales sharks. It's like they want you to talk about this supplement, why this is good, why this is good. And it's all of a sudden after the purchase, they want you to pitch this program. It's like, people aren't going to come back to your store because of that. Like, do you not realize how that just turns them off, and the odds of them coming back just went from this to like all the way to the bottom. So like, that's another reason why I started what I started, is because you don't got to be a sales shark in supplements. Like, tell somebody why ads that this is a better nootropic than this other shitty brand over here. Like, if you just tell somebody why something's better, there's no need to be a sales shark. It's just, especially in supplements, that's my biggest pet peeve, is trying to be a sales shark. Like, you don't got to be a used car salesman. Just educate them, and the rest kind of comes easy.
This reminds me of what you said. I think it was with Justin, like almost 2 years ago, Prady, how your product is not what you say it is. Your product is what other people says it is, and I never forget that. It's just true. Like, once nothing more need to be said after that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just what I was gonna say. Talk about post-purchase. I mean, I'm sure that's also constantly changing. Like, how can you best engage with someone without being too annoying, without over emails or whatever. But when I bought what was it, total productivity the other day.
Yeah.
That experience was just, I think, I mean, I don't know if you want to share about it, but it's just very seamless, very flawless. Like, it's just like, nowadays, what's the least amount of clicks you can put somebody through? And I think that's a very good example of a post-purchase experience, because it's like literally a couple clicks, and I feel engaged. Everything was just right, and I wonder, I haven't seen that from anybody else really. I mean, I don't really do much online shopping, but
yeah.
Yeah,
we spend a lot of time on it, and just think about it. But just being a good, like, if you're, and you talk about this a lot, Leo, and I think it's cool when we do, like, Jesse, you and I speak, Leo, we speak now, we all speaking together. We get to learn from one another, and like Leo always talks about like being, like how you are, just being a real person and being good, like off air and on air, like that personality keeps on going. And like, one of the things too is like, if you understand like social dynamics, you'll be fine on digital too. I mean, it's not like, rocket science to think about. If you invite someone over to your house and they come and eat or whatever they're coming to do in your house, and and then when you're done, you're like, okay, bye. And you just tell them to get the fuck out. Like, it's not going to lead to a lasting relationship. Well, we know that, right? From whatever you're doing. And so it can be applied for various ways, but it's just common sense. But when we talk about it in e-com, people are like, oh shit. Cause I've said this before. I've been on other podcasts, be like, oh wow, that blew my mind. I was like, really? Because don't you already do that when you invite people home? I'm assuming that's like common manners. So thinking about like an experience, like your store is your home. It's something you take a lot of pride in, and like someone's coming in and wants to spend their money, hard-earned money, and then you want to provide a great experience for them. And like, what does a great experience mean? And that can change, but a great experience is a great experience. Now it means, like we do it as it is, like it's totally seamless, a couple of touch points. There's a chat sequence, you can talk, it's easy. Right. So if that's a great experience, offer that to people. So looking at it from that as aspect, and that is the topic, like that's how you stand out. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, being more human in the age of digital. I think that's the real concept here.
Yeah, the whole thing is a big one, because there's people, it's like people are good at sniffing out bullshit nowadays. It's like, if you're this one person on social media and you're this other person, it's, and like, say if you have a retail store, say if I'm all hyper and talkative on social media, but if I'm like a total opposite person in my store, people aren't going to shop with you. Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And like, there's so many people that put on a front for Instagram. It's like, be yourself and talk, just talk. You don't got to like put up this front, because people are going to sniff through your shit right away. Now, if it's personal self, like whatever, but especially if you own a business, like if I was one way talking to like Justin on Instagram, then I meet him at the Arnold or something, I'm just a total douchebag who's not the person I am. It's like, that's just be yourself. You don't got to put on a front, which I see way too many people doing. It's,
yeah,
they're gonna like you or they're not. It's just,
it's such a strange concept though, having a digital identity. It's just,
dude, I know too many people that do that, and they run a business, and they wonder why people don't interact with them in store. It's like, gee, wonder, because you're all hyper on Instagram, but you don't like, you barely talk in person. It's like, and you run a retail store, you manage a retail store, and you're wondering why sales is shit. Come on, man.
Well, hopefully when we meet soon, I'll have some knowledge. I'll be a little bit more updated, and I can throw out some good vocab, some Google vocab or something.
I don't think it's about the vocab. It's just and I guess like one thing about the human part to it too. Both you guys do this. I don't do it as much, but both you guys do a lot of it with your brands. Is that you go on your Instagram and you show your face. So could you talk a little bit about, because I get the question a lot about both of you guys about showing your personal self and like on your business page, because I know a lot of people are like, nah, I'll keep that separate. I have my personal and my business. What do you think is the right approach, and what have both of you guys actually found work?
I think nowadays, like there's some bigger legacy brands who like they're gonna succeed either way. Like Nike, the CEO of Nike doesn't have to put his face out there to succeed, because they're gonna crush it anyways. But I feel like people want to connect with you. If people know you're not just all business. Like I remember it was just so simple and stupid. On my personal page, there's a lot of people who follow Nutrition Junction through my personal page. And it's something like as silly as I posted that I played Call of Duty one night, and people like flip shit. I was like, why is that so? Like, I'm like you guys, I'm a human. Like I do human stuff. I don't just like talk about supplements. And people want to connect with you. If they can connect, if they can connect with you on that level or just on a personal level, then they're that much more to opt into your brand or your business, whatever you're doing. So people, again, as I said, they can sniff through bullshit, and it's like, it's obvious. It's clear that you don't only do one thing. So that's my thing. People can sniff through bullshit, and they want to connect with somebody on a deeper level other than just like selling stuff and buying stuff.
Yeah, for me, it's more, yeah, I always have this like open door policy in a way where I always encourage like dialogue through Instagram or DMs, or now I'm getting more comfortable with camera and on Instagram, and then also on the Flickr page. But again, it's just, how many people can you just have a genuine dialogue with? And that's very rare nowadays. Like I don't need to be like a huge Nike and have like a international corporation and be very far removed from customers. We can still have a small team and to just do a lot of cool stuff with that and still reach a good amount of people. I always have this thing about reach nowadays, and everybody, when you die, you're gonna have reached X amount of people. And I believe that you should strive to reach as many people as possible in your own unique way.
Yeah.
So if everybody has their own way of doing that, but now that we have all these tools available, we should just take advantage of them, and just you have to get comfortable with it. You have to get out of the comfort zone, and if you want to be the face of your gig, your company, whatever, then there are tools out there for you to do that.
Yeah, I feel like a great example of this whole thing about putting your face behind a brand. The supplement company Ghost, they're like they do vlogs. They do like, some people like look at their Instagram and like, why is the supplement company posting about like food and like shoes? That example of people want to connect with people, and Ghost is like, obviously they're they blown up from day one. And it's the vlogs are something so simple a brand can do if it makes sense. Obviously, they're a lifestyle brand, so it's just a simple lifestyle brand, as they call it. There's just another example of how people want to connect with you. It's like there's so many people that probably like at first, even me, I looked at their Instagram and I was like, why is a supplement company posting about like shoes? I was like, this is weird. But it just goes to show people want to connect with you on a other level rather than just like your product and buying your stuff.
Is there a limit to that though? Would you say like, what about like political stuff? Like where do you guys draw the line? Cause like right now with the coronavirus, everyone has an opinion or the elections are going to come. Like where do you draw the line? Cause there is a line, I think, but like, where is that line drawn? Or do you say, cause I know a lot of supplement owners and I think it's probably all the crazy shit some of them take and they get like super moody and up and down on kind of what happens on their business page. And I was like, dude, you should probably not do that. But I don't know. Is that valid to do that or no?
For me, it's politics. Cause I honestly don't really pay attention to politics. But in the military, they taught us a thing where it's like you literally have to be careful what you post about and what you talk about, because if I talk shit about Trump and I'm in the military and that's my boss technically, so that's gonna look so bad on me. So like in basic, they teach you it's like from now on you're in the military, so now you have to be careful about what you write about politics because they're your boss ultimately. You've got to be careful who you talk to about it, because so that's for me, it's politics. Long story short.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still have an opinion, right? You don't have to agree with everything. I mean, you don't agree with everything the president says or whoever, your sergeant. You're like, well, sergeant, I would do it this way. I mean, that's just me, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess the question is like, do you post it on your, I think one thing is your person. I do agree with Jesse. I'm a big proponent of like, I don't like spit where I eat ever. Like you'll never hear me talk poorly about the United States of America because I live here. So like, it's just not my way ever. But that's me, and I get people have their opinion, but it just rubs me the wrong way when people do that. But I think people have the right to do it. But I think where is that line drawn as a business owner on your business page? Like, should you do that at all on your business page, or should you talk politics or talk about current events? And because I think people still want to connect on that level. Because I got so many questions. Like whenever I do Q&A, people ask me political questions all the time, or like, what's really about COVID or this conspiracy theories? And the other day I addressed some of it, but people really wanted it. I was like, I'm not going to do that on Azith. I'll do that on my personal. But so you say the line is politics. Is that for personal, also for business? Is there anything else in business that you just wouldn't talk about?
For business, it's mainly politics. I mean, if current events make sense, I'll talk about it. But for me, it's politics. I can't really think of anything else that would. Yeah, for me, just politics pops in mind.
Yeah. And it's something to think about because we know that documenting is great, but I think we need to be, because I think right now it's been like people who don't do anything or like, fuck, I gotta document every fucking thing in my day. And it's like, I still think at the end of the day, my personal opinion is still a business. And so you do need to think about strategically about it, because opening up your camera every 5 minutes, like Gary Vee is a personality business. I get it. It worked for him, but like, are you a personality brand or are you like a selling other shit? And there's other people in your business too. So just being strategic about it, I still think it matters. Whatever you do, I do think documenting is great, and creating connections with people on a personal level is great. But thinking about how to do that more appropriately than just, blasting at people. I've seen people like, getting totally wasted and going on. I don't see the point in doing that at all. I think that's bad for social in general, but
for a business page. Like if you're a business, if you want the number one way to lose customers and piss people off, write that you like Trump or just anybody, write that you like Trump or you like whoever the president is, write that you like this person on your Instagram. It doesn't matter who it is in politics. Write that you like Bernie Sanders on your Instagram. You're going to piss someone off and lose a lot of customers. So that's just the whole thing about politics is.
Good point. That's a very good point.
You can talk about current events, but it's just the number one way to lose customers and piss people off is say you like a political person and say you're going to support these guys fully. So,
yeah, no, I hear you, man. This is a really good talk, man. I know we're hitting the hour mark. I think we really got to get you on some more stuff and to pick your brain about starting this everything. But for people who are tuning in and hearing it from you the first time, where can people find all your Instagram? Where can people find your store and anything else that you want to share, man?
Yeah, so my personal brand is Jesse Westover, so it's just Jesse and then West and Over. That's my personal page, and then the Nutrition Junction. It's the Nutrition Junction on Facebook and Instagram, and then the website's just thenutritionjunction.com. So
perfect, man. Well, it was a pleasure to have you on, man, and can't wait to share this and have you on for more.
Yeah, man, it was fun.